Weather for at least 12 to 18 hours. In cold weather, with only one set of clothes and nothing to make fire with, getting wet could prove fatal, so always do your best to stay dry. Bleachers make perfect freshwater bait for catching eels and bass. But speaking of staying dry, this giant puffball fungus has helped me keep dry on quite a few occasions. Check this out. There you go, bone dry. Freshwater crayfish, or yabbies as we call them, contain around 25 milligrams per 100 grams of vitamin C, about the same as tomatoes. It's good to know that they're around. This is the ones that I think end up a bit spiky. They're not the normal blue ones. They get really quite large. There's also a bit of a pond down there where there might be a few. Without getting regular vitamin C, you get scurvy, and you quite literally start to fall apart. With their high protein and reasonable vitamin C levels, yabbies are a great survival food. Maybe she likes it when I get that way. I just don't get it, it just wrecks our day. Are we walking through the valley of the lost? Here I crack open a turban shell and have a little afternoon snack. It tastes a little bit like crab meat. I was pretty happy with one of my first attempts at getting the bow drill going, just with a couple of sticks and a shoelace. And you know what they say, where there's smoke. Alright, you see that? A good attitude is everything out here, and I always try to get the young ones to realise that having a good can-do attitude is a major key to leading a productive and happy life. How you feeling, bud?
Tired, bored out.
Yeah, you seem like your morale's pretty low. I did tell you what it was gonna be like before we came. How you feeling? You still glad you came?
Yeah.
One of my main jobs back in so-called civilization is a youth worker. Well, I'm hoping, this experience will toughen you up a little bit, mate. Last time we went camping, like, you were a bit complaining about the cold and that then, and that was a couple of months ago where it was warm. And I reckon if I could spend just a few weeks with some of these young ones out in the bush, especially if we were doing it a bit tough, it may make them start to appreciate life a bit more and start to give things a bit more of a go. Equipment I'm carrying here, nice and heavy.
Do you want to head down in there?
What's that? Actually, yeah, that'll be great. Here are a few mates of mine that are rangers at the Australia Walkabout Wildlife Park. Come and visit us for a couple of hours to see how we're going on our trip. This tree is called a woody pear. And as the name suggests, it has a solid woody fruit in the shape of a pear. There we go. It contains 2 small edible seeds. These classic puffy-looking clouds are called cumulus and are usually a sign of decent weather. When cumulus clouds join together and turn into an anvil shape, as you can see here with a dark underside, they can become storm clouds called cumulonimbus. What's okay for the distinctly similar chimpanzee, who this is a favourite food of, the termite, is good enough for me. It's a bit of protein. Slightly lemony taste. I don't mind it. Lots. This might be a quicker way of doing it. Light, please, Dylan. Dylan generally doesn't say much on camera, but inspired by a good campfire, we talk well into the night. Lucky bugger gets to eat the yabbies. But, yeah. Are you spewing you don't like shellfish and stuff like that, mate, a little bit?
Yep.
There's plenty of that down there. What do you reckon we go to the legs and go to all you could eat?
Yep.
Well, we did it, mate, didn't we?
Yep.
Good work.
Thanks, me again.
No, well, let's go. Here's proof that even in the middle of winter, when the least plant and animal food is available, with just a bit of knowledge and the right attitude, you can survive. This week away did wonders for young Dylan, and I felt ready to take on the world. As soon as I got back, I organised a bit of a rally to try and get the local, state or federal governments to back us up and protect Bambara. Bev Spears did the acknowledgement of country.
I was shocked an hour ago when I walked down a road down there and I actually saw signs for sale. And I think what we should try and do is to all get together and do whatever we can and keep shouting. We'll wear them down. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Jake Cassar and I represent myself and my family here today as a local man originally from Woy Woy and now living down the hill just down there at West Gosford near Narara. I also represent a community group with over 1,700 members who are dedicated to having Bambara Road Kariong protected forever. We hope to soon achieve this goal by lobbying local, state and federal governments to ensure that this area is officially gazetted into Brisbane Water National Park, which surrounds Bambara on all four sides. I'll firstly show my respect to the traditional custodians and elders past and present in this very special land. I'd also like to acknowledge any elders, Indigenous and non-Indigenous, present here today in order to express my total respect for them as much valued knowledge holders and ancient story keepers in our community. This special and magical healing place, Bambara, just up the road, certainly helped me through challenging times in my life, especially my mid to late teens. I feel blessed to be able to offer the same right, honour and privilege to the countless Indigenous and non-Indigenous children that I work with in this area side by side. As adults in this community, what kind of message would the destruction of this land be sending to our children?
To cut a long and I believe very interesting story short, I'm in the Land and Environment Court. I've sworn my oath, I've given evidence as a public objector, and I'm watching all these people in flashy suits discussing whether or not to destroy Bambara. What is to be the future of the heart of Brisbane Water National Park, Bambara Road? Is Bambara to be revered and protected and shown the respect it should demand? Or seen as merely prime real estate in what has been known as an easy target area for developers, the Central Coast? We have a letter of objection from Mr Gilmert, a landowner at Bambara Road down here, dated the 31st of January 1931, in the Sydney Morning Herald, describing how the engravings may be lost to a development. I've been criticised and threatened with legal action for leading a campaign that could alienate those who could help us. And it's been suggested I should apologise for my views, opinions and demeanour. Is it me that should apologise? The governmental bodies who have known about this for 80 years that we now know of should apologise to our community and get to work protecting this area that people have been fighting for heart and soul for such a very long time. This isn't a personal attack on individuals, but a strong criticism of a system that is obviously not designed to serve the community's wants and needs pertaining to the protection of sacred land and endangered flora and fauna. Thank you. On visiting Brisbane Water National Park, Jean Cloddy, the world's foremost authority on Indigenous rock art, plainly stated, this area has the greatest diversity for rock art in the world. The greatest diversity for rock art in the world. My main question is, what do our local leaders, with the conviction to turn up here today, and thank you, what do they propose should happen to protect this land at Bambara Road? I'm very interested to find out. Actually, after what I saw in court the other month and the pending decision, I've become quite desperate to find out. After 80 years that we now know about of locals tirelessly campaigning, heart and soul, to protect this land, it must now become a legacy to protect Bambara and all that lives within her national parkland borders. It would seem reasonable for any person that the community, again after 80 years, should be able to now demand answers. So here we are. Thank you. Although we've had some interesting and colourful verbal exchanges of late, I do hold belief in Chris as a really good leader for our community, and thanks again for coming, Chris. I really appreciate it. Thanks, mate.
Firstly, as Mayor of the City, can I acknowledge the traditional owners of the land? Can I pay my respects to elders past and present? Colourful conversations, Jake. That's an understatement, mate. There were discussions that Council was initiating with the Department, National Parks and Wildlife. Why? The greatest protection for this land is for it to become National Park and Wildlife. That's as simple. It has to be part of the National Park. Has to be. There's no argument, no doubt, no other zoning you can put on it that not give it the ultimate protection. Council refused the application. They took us to court. Rightio? And in the court proceedings, of which me and Jake have had many discussions on it, we'll agree at times to disagree, the bottom line was, you the ratepayer have spent to this date over $175,000 for us to defend that in the court. I give this commitment as the Mayor of the City to enter in discussions with the state government and with the National Parks and Wildlife to bring it into National Parks Wildlife ownership. But we have to wait. If the decision is for approval, then I hope to get the consent of my fellow councillors to take it to a higher level and a higher court if they intend to oppose us. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's where we are at this point in time in regard to the proposal. We wait for the court's decision. At that point, we as a council will then know which direction. And I can tell you, the moment I get that decision, the first phone call's to this bloke, because he's been talking to me since day dot on it, and then it's about bringing that up to the council and taking action, of which then the council may then require of you, the concerned citizens, to back us. And I hope you will.
Which councillors are supporting this? Are they all supporting, or is anyone against it?
Yes, and I'll acknowledge Councillor Freewater and Councillor Teller here, right? I don't believe Mr Ellis, and you know me, have done for the 19 years I've been on council, mate. I believe the numbers are sufficient on council to continue to support the staff's recommendation of refusal. It'd be a brave bloody councillor to go anywhere other than that.
My name's Dean Mason. I'm a proud Ewan man. And I'd just like to say, once all the trees are chopped down, and once all the animals are being hunted, and once all the water's polluted, and then the air's no longer safe enough to breathe, Maybe then the idiots will realise you can't eat bloody meat.